I mean, the title of the album is the title of that song, and there's several other good songs, obviously, on that album. But like many things of Bruce Springsteen, it's mighty iconic and probably worthy of a 40-year celebration, just like Purple Rain.
You're right, it is. I don't even express this much around Springsteen fans because I have many who adore him, and but it represented for me, that was such a weird time because he had just put out Nebraska not long before that in '83, which was so, yes, that was amazing. I don't adore it and genuflect to it like some people do, but it's a brave album. The lyrics, it's like a perfect like retro old school dark folk record. So yes, 5 stars. But I thought it like so. The River is the one where I kind of departed a little bit because he was just basically turning back away from the first 2 or 3 records where he was long songs with very cinematic and lyrical, and you know everything was so big, and this was like a turn back to being a bar band, which was fine. I love the song "Hungry Heart" and Pink Cadillac and all that stuff, you know, Cadillac Ranch, and but I think Born in the USA was just, it felt...
Well, maybe it's almost like they said, hey, we need a commercial record this time, huh?
Yeah, but I think it's one he was really willing to make. I think he talked about stripping back from that, like the first 2 records, East Street Shuffle, I adore, and there's some stuff on there that is jazzy and jammy, and, you know, he's like, I don't want to be there anymore. Good for him, because he was also writing songs that will fill an arena, that was very savvy. He didn't stray from who he was, so there wasn't like he was trying to be something he wasn't. It was just, and I love that record because it reminds me of good times. But sometimes it's like, I don't need to hear this anymore. It was everywhere.
It was indeed everywhere. And on that note, let's take a time out and come back and check out a few more things. This will be even more eclectic after the break, that's for sure. But as we also explore the things that are painful for performers, and in that regard, painful for their audiences. That and much more coming up straight ahead on Danny and Tim's Music Scene, part of Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed. And if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426. And we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Always great to catch up with Dr. Brad Whittle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Everybody wants to make every year a great one, mentally and physically, and certainly ASFCA can help in that regard.
Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies. We're going to address the body and the mind to keep you in great shape. With winter moving into spring, we don't want to have the opportunity to get hurt or to be slow and not do what we used to do, right?
Absolutely right, and you can do that in a variety of ways.
We can. We love looking at the body and how it moves, looking at the posture and how it holds us to be strong, to be safe, and really to help us do those things we love to do.
The wide variety and range of services you can get helps in that regard at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 7 locations all around the Kansas City area. Find the one that's most convenient for you. And for more information, visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back, and while she may not be everybody's cup of tea or type of music isn't or whatever, there's no doubt that Celine Dion was an absolute sensation, in some ways a creation, but somebody with a beautiful voice of a sort, and now she is fighting what many musicians that we've seen over the last few years are, medical issues that affect their ability to perform and take away what they really love to do. And that's right now what Celine Dion's going through and what she is willing to share in this documentary.
Yeah, I've not watched it. It just came out Sunday, I think. And I want some room to watch it because I know it's going to be really sad. I've seen her a bunch of times, obviously, because I had to write about her shows. And yes, her shows were like almost religious evangelical expressions, because people will walk up to the stage and lay flowers at her, and just like she was their, their spiritual
guidepost or
minister, yes, or something. Like it was, and she never overplayed it, but it's just evidence of what she meant to people. And so she's always very, very humble and friendly and not funny, but you know what, that voice, and so I respect her. Anyone who can do what she did, she was tapping into something that was necessary, or there was an appetite for, and she filled it. So I don't care. You can dismiss her, just don't listen to her. Then it's
right.
But I've seen what she does to a crowd, and hey, we all go to music for a different thing. Her fans were going for what she gave them, and they adored it. And so that's what she was. She made records, but like most people, she's like, I got to get out. She wanted to connect with those people. Now she can't. She has this, like, I think, you think of all the creative ways they use to name drugs or other diseases, right. But she's got this thing called a neurological condition called stiff person syndrome.
Which really sounds like something that Christopher Guest would put in a movie or something like that. I mean, it's a bad name. You don't mean to laugh about it because it's obviously awful.
It sounds like the Seinfeld where the woman who doesn't move her hands when she walks or something. Like it's that kind of disorder. Anyway, it's not funny in the slightest. So it's affecting her physically, and she can't. She can't perform, and it affects her vocally too. So she's distraught. And I watched the trailer for this, and we were thinking about watching it, and I looked at Michelle, my wife, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this right now.
Right, you got to pick a time.
I got to clear some space in my head, and because it's going to be, it's like watching someone retire from a sport, but this is even worse because it's involuntary. So,
right.
She's such an interesting person, and I say this kind of loosely, yet and kind of the way Shania Twain is, and the fact that they're both women from Canada, there's something about them that overlaps, about their personalities. Shania went through the worst tragedy ever, but they were both amazing entertainers, or are, and but she's been, her heart's been broken a few times, and this might be the heaviest because it prevents her from doing what she wants to do.
Right. And, just another reminder of the fact that you got to pick and choose and decide what you think might be the last rodeo or whatever. Neil Young now is on his second hiatus from his tour. Back in May, he canceled several shows because not just he, but other members of his band were sick, and apparently they are again. And this is going to happen, and I'm surprised it really doesn't happen more often when people go on these long tours. But I mean, Neil Young's obviously been on the road 8 million times. People who like him, no doubt, seen him, many times. And when probably maybe some people were thinking this might be the last time I'll go see him, and now I can't.
Yeah, because we talked the other day or last time about people who are still touring, and I don't know if we brought up Dave Mason, but he's coming too.
Right, yes.
So there are these guys from the 60s and late 60s, 70s out there still plugging along for either, it's probably A, B, and both. They can't stop doing it, and they could use some cash. So they do both, or it feeds both. So, but yeah, I mean, the body breaks down. I mean, I just saw a picture of Mick Jagger with his 35-year-old girlfriend running around on a beach. And I'm like, okay, that guy is the outliest of the outliers. Like, do not aspire to that. Like,
you'll fall short of your expectations for doing,
and you'll die along the way. Yeah,
right.
Just don't let him set your standards. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, it's although watching Paul McCartney run around at the Taylor Swift show,
right,
in London, is like, that dude, he's another one who's, I've got this sense that he's immortal. Like, well, he's just never going to die because he's always been in my life, it seems. So,
right. Yeah, there are some people when there's some people when they die, you're like, well, of course, he's older and whatever, or maybe a little bit younger, but you can understand it. But some of these people, like say both Ringo and Paul McCartney, that's kind of going to be a shock because they went through they survived the first wave of people who pass, and now it's like they're going to live to like Carl Reiner time, or one of these 100, right, or Dick Van Dyke, or one of these people who just don't die. So,
right, or Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson's been skipping a few shows lately. Right. Alert! So he's not getting younger. No. So yeah, it's just but I'm at the point where I know that I've seen them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to see them, right, for the exclusive purpose of like, well, I want to see them before they die,
right. Absolutely, yeah. If you've seen them, you've got the memories of it, and we probably talk about this weekly. Is that Mark Knopfler is not going to tour anymore, and I'm good with it. One more time would have been fine, but the last tour was great. So I won't.
Well, it's like going back to that REM thing on CBS,
right?
When they were asking if they were going to tour again, and Peter Buck just said it wouldn't be as good. Mm-hmm. Why bother? Like.
Right.
Let's leave out there what's out there. Why feed people something that's going to be inferior? Just
right. And you can find all this stuff now. You've got almost an unlimited ability to see anything you want if you want to feed that again. Except if it's a new album by an influential artist. I can't say that I'm like an Eminem fan, but he certainly veined another aspect of hip hop and whatever, and brought millions of people into a genre that maybe they might not have experienced. And he's sort of paying homage to his past with a new album. I think there's two of them actually, but one of them includes the phrase "Death of Slim Shady," which of course his famous character. He's been an interesting and influential guy, of course, somewhat controversial when you're a white rapper always. But although that's gotten less of the case, but in his case, he was probably at the vanguard of doing that, which probably took quite a bit of courage, but he didn't care. He's an interesting guy. New album coming out. I don't know if I'll listen to it. I don't know, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah. All that was so long ago. It's longer ago than we want to admit.
Yeah, it is, yes.
But my little side story here is that when he first broke out, he was writing stuff on those first records about his mother. Mm-hmm. She called me at the Star from St. Joe, where she was living.
Right.
And I recorded it, but it was just like 90 minutes of, just nothing that you could...
craft into an article?
Prove. Just like stuff she was saying, like, how am I going to prove? And I just let her talk and, about refuting things and bringing up stuff. Anyway, but then he played at Liberty Hall then. This is how early this was because he never played in a place like that again. And she was there, like, backstage. You could see her. And so, I don't know. It was sort of evidence of how volatile his upbringing was, and he ended up in Detroit. And yes, there was resentment, but there was because of where he lived in Detroit and how he grew up, and his style was. Everyone was like, "Okay, you're not Vanilla Ice. Okay, you're fine. Like,
right?
You passed that test." So, he was. I won't say evolutionary, but revolutionary. Like he sort of started the path for other white guys who were steeped in the